Welcome to Caskets and Cocktails, Memoirs of a Cemetery Dude. Get ready for a hilarious dive into the world of death care where cemetery industry veteran Mr. Danny and his daughter Katie will answer all those crazy questions you've been dying to ask. Go ahead and pour yourself a drink, pull up a rocking chair, and get ready for some laughs because we guarantee Caskets and Cocktails will be the last ones to let you down.
Hey guys, Katie Leverett here.
Danny Faulkner, I'm her daddy.
And welcome to Caskets and Cocktails. So what do you guys think? What do you think about our new opener?
I like it.
It sounds awesome, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes it sound so professional.
I know. He doesn't sound very much like us though, huh?
No, he's not from around here, as we say.
Yeah, I don't think so. But guys, we have an awesome show in store for you, and we're just going to hop in and get started.
Sure.
We got an email from Sarah in Australia.
Adelaide,
Australia.
I think that's how you say it.
I don't speak Australian.
I don't speak Australian very well.
But her email, she was wanting to know a story that has kind of stuck with you. She said that she loves the Barker story, the fights by the graveside. She said they're just completely unbelievable, which I would agree. Honestly, it sounds sometimes like this is a fiction podcast.
Yeah, well, life is funnier than fiction.
That's true. That is true. But she just wanted to know a story that has stuck with you over the years. Do you have like one or two you could maybe share with us?
Yeah. I think I've got one in particular that really taught me a good lesson when I bought my cemeteries. We did the interment authorization with the family on burying this guy. He was a young fella. I'm say young. He was in his 50s. And he died. And nobody...
He was dead before you buried him.
Yeah, right. And I didn't ask any questions because I didn't want to get too personal.
Okay.
And the funeral director...
Is that standard? Like, you just don't ask?
Yeah, there's a lot of things you just don't ask. You know, like, how did he die?
Yeah.
You don't ask all that kind of stuff. You ask the funeral director because he'll tell you.
Yeah.
But I asked the funeral director, didn't say anything to me about it. So anyway, we get the grave ready and all this sort of thing. Well, they show up with this behemoth. This guy was 700 pounds. He filled the whole back of the hearse up. I mean, they could barely get that casket in the hearse.
Oh, my gosh.
We had 12 guys carry that guy to the grave. Well, the lowering device that lowers the casket down, it was not big enough to put that casket through there. The vault that we had set in the ground was not big enough.
Oh, you're kidding.
The grave space was not big enough. So we had to wait till after the service was over. We got the backhoe, put chains on it,
Were you
on
scared?
the casket.
I have a question. Did you put you know how like a lot of times the lowering device and then the casket sits on top of the hole?
Yeah, right.
Did you set it on that?
We
during
did.
I would be scared it would fall through.
No, it wouldn't. I mean, it hung over the edge.
Okay.
You know, I mean, if anything, it would break the lowering device with that much weight on it. But anyway, we pulled him off, set him aside, had to tear everything down. We had to pull that vault out.
Was the family still there? Or
No,
did you
they
wait until they left?
Yeah, I waited for them to leave and asked the funeral director to please get them out of here. So, because I got to redo this whole damn thing. So we had to pull the vault out, redig the grave, which encroached into another grave.
Right.
And ordered a oversized vault. They brought the oversized vault in.
How long does that take, though?
It took about 2 hours for the vault to get there.
I was thinking it would take like a couple of days.
No. The vaults are generally made in metropolitan areas to where they can monitor or they can service.
Get real quick.
Yeah, they can service in just a matter of a few hours, the surrounding area. And so anyway, they brought that in and we got it all done and got him buried. But I lost a lot of money on that one.
Yeah, it
And
sounds like it.
So from now, at that point forward, I always ask the families, do you know what size casket he's in? Well, most of the families say, no, we don't know. But if he's a big boy, they'll always say, well, it's oversized. He was a big boy.
Oh, okay.
And
so that's like the nice way to kind of approach it. Because I was going to ask, like, how do you even approach the family with that? Like,
if you say that, then if it's oversized, they know it's oversized. And they'll tell you that it's oversized. And then what I do is call the funeral director and say, how big a boy is he? And he'll say, 500 pounds or 600 pounds or whatever. It's just, and I don't know if it's the foods that we eat or the society that we live in or what, but we have huge people out there. And of course they die in their 50s. Or earlier. But it's amazing how people can get that big,
right.
And then all of the things that you have to do to accommodate them when they die. That don't come up during, say, a normal sized person.
Yeah, and you don't want to be rude and like make people feel bad because
it's the same thing with tall people.
Yeah.
Like 7-footers.
Oh, wow. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it's the same thing. If there's 7 foot or so, I mean, you're into a whole different dynamic as far as burying is concerned.
Instead of having to get 2 plots side by side, I guess it's 2 end to end, huh?
Just about right.
Wow.
But you just got to make sure that you dig the grave. There's always a little space left in a grave.
Yeah.
But in some of these cases, you have to make sure you dig every bit of that grave out to accommodate the casket. You got to get the measurements of the casket and all that sort of stuff. And then you got to order the either an oversized or a long vault that the casket will fit in.
And then do you just use the backhoe to lower them in? Because I guess your equipment isn't.
Our equipment's not designed for that.
Yeah.
I mean, we can get somebody, say, 6'10", 6'11", 350 pounds, 400 pounds, something like that. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
But when you're 7'2" and you weigh 700 pounds, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
What?
And the family knows that they're giants. And they, you don't want to beat them up about it.
Right.
But they need to be made aware that there's some extra expense involved there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they understand that.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a.
Well, it's something people don't ever think about.
I would never have thought about that, to be honest with you. Like, it would not have even crossed my mind.
Yeah. Next time somebody out there is getting a big cheeseburger, think about that.
Note to self, I needed to start trimming it up before it's too late.
Yeah.
If you're super cheap, get skinny.
Yeah, right. Get skinny so you don't have to pay the burying man.
Wow. That's a story that stands out for sure.
Well, it sure educated me.
Yeah, and there's nothing like a little financial impact to make you remember something.
That's exactly
I guess.
right.
Yeah,
that's
when
exactly
it hits your pocket, that's a whole new ball game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing there is so much goes on that people don't really think about.
Right.
You're thinking in terms of mama dying.
Yeah.
And you're devastated.
Yeah.
And you're crying and da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
You don't care about the mechanics. You just want it to happen. Okay. And over the years, in my world, I kind of stand back and observe everything and see the dynamics of a family, see what's going on as far as relationships are concerned.
Right.
And not everybody mourns like you mourn.
Right.
You know, not everybody.
Well, kind of like when you were saying in one of our other episodes about family members defacing the grave. That really blew me away.
Yeah.
And I guess I never really thought about stuff like this. Like someone that's too big or mourning in different ways. I just assume everybody's sad.
We had a guy that was a big car dealer, and he had an airplane.
Okay.
And him and a buddy of his were coming back from somewhere. I don't know where. Anyway, they had an airplane crash, and everybody died. It was like 3 or 4 of them, something like
awful.
that. Yeah, it was awful. But his brother came in and signed the authorization, paid the opening, closing, and all this sort of stuff. And so the day of the burial, which was, I guess, 4 days after he died.
Yeah. And that's a pretty traumatic
Yeah,
ending.
yeah. I mean, because it's not like he was
sick
or anything like that, or he injured himself or anything like that. It was an accident.
Straight up plane crash.
Right.
Oof.
And anyway, so because he was I guess a wealthy individual, they rented several of the family cars, limousines, and they all pulled up. And I was standing there waiting on everybody to come in, and the door opens, and this guy's wife is the first one out of the back seat. And she's got on a white fringed leather miniskirt.
Oh.
Yeah. And,
Oh my.
and white cowgirl boots.
That is not what I was expecting you to say at all.
And she had a white sequenced vest on and a great big white sequenced cowboy hat.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Was she Dolly Parton? Who was she?
She was
Close?
She was close. She was. She had the operation to trying to get to be Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
And, she had all the makeup on. I mean, she was
decked
one
out.
hot mama. And out from behind her, be damned, her daughter comes out, and she was dressed just like her mom.
Oh my God.
And
my God.
And it was kind of, and they were kind of acting like, you know, this is, I'm really got an appointment.
Yeah.
We really need.
We need to go sing karaoke right now.
Cause we're dressed up.
Yeah.
We might as well go to happy hour. But they both seemed kind of bothered about the whole thing.
Yeah. They weren't real broke up about the plane crash, it
No,
sounds
they
like.
were ready to go somewhere else and start a new life.
Oh my God.
Real quick.
I bet they were real rich then.
Oh, I imagine so.
She probably got that check. She was like, I've always wanted a leather mini skirt. Now's my chance.
They were either headed to Vegas or Nashville.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where. But wherever she went, I'm sure she made a statement.
Yeah.
But that was, I guess, just because they're married, just because they're your daddy, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're devastated.
Yeah, apparently not.
Yeah.
That is super interesting. So, Sarah, I think he did a great job at answering your question with those two stories because, it's one of those things that I would never think about someone being too big. I wouldn't think about someone not mourning. And yet that kind of stands out in your mind. Yeah,
those events like that, kind of teach you a lesson.
Yeah. So I hope that answered your question. One of her other questions was to me, actually. I haven't gotten a question yet. So, but she asked me what story of yours stands out in my mind. And I think the biker gang one that we covered in episode 1 is like my most epic story that you have told. I've heard that one throughout the years, but what I loved about our podcast was I've heard it, but at the same time I don't think I knew all the details. And so I just love that one. So if you guys haven't listened to episode 1, go out there and check it out. I think it's called Biker Gangs Love Seersuckers and Bow Ties, right?
I'm not sure what you called it.
I think that's what it's called.
But that was a very interesting experience for me.
So that one is the one that stood out in my mind. It's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But thanks, Sarah. And I cannot believe that we have fans in Australia.
Tell everybody we said g'day.
Beach Too Sandy, Water Too Wet is a comedy podcast featuring brother and sister duo Alex and Christina as they recap dramatic readings of 1-star reviews written by real people with not so real problems. Whether it's a bar's no throw-up policy, a barista who's just too friendly, or a school psychologist's fashion sense, prepare for equal amounts of laughter and eye-rolling. Listen to Beach Too Sandy, Water Too Wet on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, or any of your favorite podcast apps. You can also find them on all social media platforms at Beach Too Sandy. So we got another email question from a fellow podcaster, and I'm a big fan of the show. I think it is so good. Kathy over at Haunting History Podcast emailed us, and she is just like really bothered by the fact that we don't know who the person is that you talked about in our Halloween episode about the helpful ghost. And she actually is a researcher, and she goes out and she researches and stuff like that. So I'm going to send her the information for the cemetery and see if she could figure out who it is. Have you ever had researchers or paranormal researchers approach you about doing stuff in one of your cemeteries?
Well, there's a group called Find a Grave, and it's nationwide, and it's all volunteers. And what happens is you want to find Uncle Junior's grave, and he's buried outside of Gatlinburg. Well, they call you, email them, and say, give them the information. They will call the cemeteries in that area and say, do you have Uncle Junior? And if they say, yeah, we do, and a volunteer will go in and take a picture, and then it'll put on their website to where you can look on their website and see Uncle Junior's grave. Now, that's one kind of research.
And that's just like your basic kind of ancestry type of research,
Correct,
right?
correct.
It's nothing creepy or
no.
something like that.
Now, we have had several times in several of the cemeteries that I have been associated with, people come in to want to do paranormal research at the cemetery. And unfortunately, we can't allow that sort of thing because of how it will affect the other people, the surviving spouses or family members of the people that are buried. Some people may be offended.
Yeah, I would not want to know that my loved one was hanging out at a cemetery, like in the spirit realm. That would really freaked me out.
Yeah. Well, see, and I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Because if I die suddenly or I die from a lengthy illness, whatever, when I die, when I go on, I would think that my spirit would go back to a good place.
I would hope so.
I wouldn't think that my spirit, like Our Town, the play Our Town, is about a cemetery.
Yeah.
And all these spirits are hanging around the cemetery.
Right.
Well, I think that you go someplace that you're familiar with and you're not hanging out in the cemetery. Well, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But obviously the one that for our holiday episode, we did have somebody hanging on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A former helpful florist or something.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
Well, that was awesome. I think that was really good. And at the end of this show, you can catch a preview or a promo of Kathy's show. And it is so good, you guys. She is an amazing researcher. So be sure to check it out. Also, be sure to follow us on social media. I want to hear what you guys think of the beginning of our show, our brand new kind of intro, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
I want to hear the feedback. I think it's like funky and fun, and we hope that you guys like it too. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and on Instagram at Caskets and Cocktails. And remember, we're on Twitter at Casket and Cocktail without the plural. We are just growing super fast. We keep every time I look, our numbers are up and up and up and up. So that's so awesome. So you guys, please share with your friends and family. We really, really appreciate it.
Well, I told you about going to a restaurant and giving one of the ladies there a card. Well, I also gave it to the lady at my bank. And I went in there the next week or so, and she said, Mr. Faulkner, she said, I love your podcast. She said, I made my husband listen to it. I made my son listen to it. I made my son-in-law listen to it. She said, we just love it. Well, that's an example of letting somebody else know about it.
Yeah.
And they enjoyed it. And they laughed for a little bit.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We did get business cards. I'll have to post a picture because I think they're super fun. And I'm excited. I've been handing them out. We've been giving them out to strangers.
Yeah.
So if you're one of those strangers who we randomly have talked to on the streets, we're not super creepy. We wanted just to give you a card. We wanted to invite you to this party.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for your support. I'm so glad I get to do this with you, Daddy.
I'm glad I get to do this.
Yeah, and remember, over at Caskets and Cocktails,
we'll be the last ones to let you down.
Welcome to Haunting History, the podcast that reaches back into the past for the events that shocked us. Tales of true crime, mystery, and the macabre. And when we're lucky, those stories where the past and the paranormal meet. Because who doesn't love a good ghost story, right? I'm your host, Kat, and joining me every week will be one of my co-hosts. Either Haley, my partner in every idea I have, or Tress, my lovely sidekick in all things paranormal. Join us this season as we discuss and share true accounts from all over Southern California and beyond, from haunted locations to newsworthy incidents and crimes that stunned us. We will delve deep and find the people behind the headlines. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Haunting History Podcast, and rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. Also, visit our website at hauntinghistorypodcast.com. Until next time, remember, the living are far scarier than any ghost.
Katie, I saw on the whatever it is, Facebook or whatever, you had a box.
Yes.
And you were shaking it.
Yes.
And you were just so happy to have gotten it. Now, was that our Killer Trace box?
It is. Oh my gosh, I'm so obsessed. We got our second box this week,
Oh,
and
man.
it is awesome. When I open it up, it has just all sorts of cool things. I'm going to be posting a bunch of stuff on social media from the box. But I have to say,
It's cheating to get other people to help, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I need some help because it's pretty tricky. I have discovered that I would not have been a good detective. But I sure have a lot of fun doing it.
And see, you wouldn't be a good murderer because you don't like blood.
Oh, yeah, no.
And you wouldn't be a good detective because it's a little bit
It's kind of hard.
hard.
But I have a lot of fun trying to figure out who the murderer is. And you can too. For those of you at home, be sure to check out our partner, Killer Trace. And use code CAC2018. Again, that's CAC2018. And you have a chance to get your very own box. The holidays are coming.
Oh, that's a perfect Christmas present.
It really is. And you get your box every month, and it's different, and it's fun, and it's just awesome.
That's great. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, be sure to check out Killer Trace today.
I can hardly wait for me to get that second box so I can start working on it.
I know.